welcome back to another new edition of Windows and Current Affairs. And today we talk about the preparations for the summer tourism season 2023-2024, or at least this summer. Of course, for this season, we have a package full of new plans and new programs, new touristic programs, according to the Ministry of Tourism and several top touristic experts, and also some touristic mega projects. On top of them is the huge Grand Museum that is going to be inaugurated, inshallah, and of course a lot more in package for the summer season, and we're very delighted to be talking about that in detail and more with our dear guest here live in the studio, Mr. Salah Hedayet. He is a touristic expert. Good evening, Mr. Hedayet.
Good evening, nice to meet you.
Same here, it's my pleasure. Let us first talk about this summer, or this season, actually, summer 2023. Of course, after 9 years of renovating the face of Egypt and even establishing a new republic, and establishing a huge mega infrastructural network of roads and the buildings and the new hotels and new cities like Al Alamein city and other cities also. Of course, when we talk about at least cities on the coastal cities in particular are totally renovated. There were other old cities, coastal cities, that were renovated totally, like Ras Al Bar, for example, and other cities like Port Said and all that. So those achievements that were established and effected all over Egypt, how does that affect or impact on tourism?
Okay, let's start by after the two revolutions and the political situation after 2011 and 2013, and then our fight against terrorists makes the number of the tourists decrease for too much. Our peak season, it was about the winter at 2010, we reached for 14 millions point 5 tourists at that year, 2010. Then for the last years since 2011 until 2018, the number of tourists at all these years, it was just about 4 millions. Then from 2018 until 2019, and then the beginning of 2020, before the COVID-19 pandemic, the numbers start to be more increase a little bit more. But make sure after the COVID-19 pandemic at 2011 and 2022, the peak of seasons in Egypt be in summer and winter. Egypt was really famous by the weather in winter. It was warm more than Europe and more than America. So we are famous by winter tourism. But then for last 2 years, and also this summer, Egypt to be very well known with the summer tourism also. And it's already, we can feel it. Dr. Ahmed Isa, about 2 days before, he announcing that the number of tourists for last six months from January to June, number reached for 7 million point 4. So we're supposed to see this year it will be a new record for tourism in Egypt. So we are too close to achieve 15 million tourists in this year, 2023. Sure, after the renovation of the, especially as a tour guide, I am now talking as a tour guide, the renovation of the routes in Egypt make it more facility for tourists to move from destination to each other. The time we took from Giza pyramids to reach the museum, it was about an hour and a half. But now just 30 minutes, 20 minutes. So it makes more facilities. He can see now more destinations in the same day. Also, the rush season in summer in Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada make a new destinations open again, like Marsa Alam, like this summer, Ain al-Sukhna, Al-Galala, all these cities start to work again, and like city like Ain al-Sukhna, it's the first season for them to work with global tourism, not just domestic tourism. Also for the new city like Al Alamein and the new festival, which already opened before 2 days, it makes a lot of tourists ask to want to start our tour in Al Alamein, because it's already be very crowded in Sharm el-Sheikh and Dahab, in Taba, in Hurghada, in Al-Sukhna, Marsa Alam. Now they start looking forward to the Mediterranean Sea, sure, like Al Alamein like New Dumeta, and as you say also, New Ras Al Bar.
Right. What is it that distinguishes the coastal cities in Egypt, which is very much distinguished because we have, over years and years, tourists who flock to Egypt and personalities and people who have traveled outside Egypt went to Western cities where there are marvelous beaches and everything, but still the coastal cities and the sea here is different all and about from any other place in the world. What exactly, how exactly is the coastal cities different from other beaches worldwide, and what distinguishes the Mediterranean Sea from other seas worldwide?
Okay, for example, let's talk about make the tourists in different groups, like who came from the east of Europe, like Russia, like Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all this side, Poland. They know very well and they fall in love with Sharm el-Sheikh, especially for the last few years. Sharm el-Sheikh totally changed, totally changed. I know that from the tourists who already come and go for different times. They said this time in Egypt, after 10 years, totally Sharm el-Sheikh will be totally different city. New hotels, even very, very clean sea, very clean weather. So it's really cold there, so he need a coast to go to enjoy his summer time. For the Mediterranean Sea countries already, like Spain, like Italy, like like France as well, they also come to Egypt to enjoy their time here. Even they have some coasts there, but they thought no, Egypt is totally different from what we have. Even the Egyptians, they know how to show them hospitality. They are very, very friendly. Like it's happened with me for before 3 days. We're going for a famous restaurant to have with my group to have our dinner, our meal time, lunch. So we have to be in waiting time, in waiting list. But a group of ladies from Egypt say, no, you are our guests. You can sit and we can wait. That make people be more fear friendly. They say that if we are still in America, no one will pass his turn to us. Even if we are not American, they will do the same. So very, very small details make people feel more flexible, feel more free in Egypt, more than any another city or any other country in Europe or maybe all over the world. Even the quality of people who work in tourism, from drivers, from tour leaders, for animations like in hotels, anyone and everyone in this industry, he very well know about the hospitality industry. So people start to say, okay, we can go from different destinations like Maldives, like Bahamas, like Zanzibar in Tanzania. It's all new destinations and they have the same we have, the summer tourism or the sea or the coast tourism. But they saw, no, you know very well how to treat with your guest more than them. Like they are becoming new for the industry, so they don't feel very good with how to show them hospitality and how to make your guest feel more free, feel more freedom, feel more flexible, like here in Egypt. That's why make Egypt increase the numbers around us again. So we start to take our position as one of the famous destinations all over the world for global tourism and all the patterns of tourism, not just the classic tour, not just coast tour.
Exactly. But also going back, before we move on to another part of tourism, but still going back with the coastal cities, the most important thing to distinguish coastal life in Egypt is that the diversity of places. Like you've kindly mentioned, we're talking about Al Alamein, we're talking about Ras Al Bar, we're talking about Siwa, we're talking about Sinai, we're talking about Marsa Matruh, and then we can talk about Alexandria, the main, a city which is totally different, and then we have other places. And you know, when we talk about coastal cities, it's more how many coastal cities. That is one thing. And another thing is that the diversity of the climate of those coastal cities, diversity of the clarity of water, the culture of the people of those coastal cities are different. Each culture of each coastal city with its cuisine and everything is totally different from the other, which doesn't happen in any country in the world. And also the type of tourism differs from one place for the other. I mean, there are coastal cities where you can go fishing, where you can go snorkeling, where you can go diving. Other cities where if you like swimming and you spend your vacation, modern life. Other cities where you want to enjoy the environment. You go to the basic life of the environment and totally environmental friendly. Protectorate, natural protectorates also are there available, anything you name it. So let's dive into these images or this scene of coastal cities, which is very rich, by the way.
Okay, in my opinion, no any country in the world have the destinations as we have. For north we have Mediterranean Sea, for east we have the Red Sea. So it makes you have a very huge variety about the coastal city, like start from Nuweiba and Sokhna, then Marsa Alam, then new cities like Gona as well. Start to people ask it, we need to go for Gona, for Hurghada, Sharm el-Sheikh, Taba, Dahab. We just count the main cities for the Red Sea. If we move to the other side, now as well after we finished tourism in north of Sinai, now Al Arish opened a new destination for vacations as well, and I know a lot of people start to already make some reservations in hotels in Al Arish. They want to see how this city is be very, very beautiful. Also, we have other side of the Mediterranean Sea. We have Marsa Matruh, we have Al Alamein, we have Alexandria, New Damietta, also New Mansoura. It's forward to the sea. It's too close from Gamasa. All these destinations make people feel different from each other. It's very important for them. He don't need to go to a city looking like his city already in Europe or in America. He want to feel something looking forward, something looking different, like the Bedouin culture. He can feel it in south of Sinai, totally different. If he go for north of Sinai, they all Bedouins, but they have different culture. They have different kind of music, different folk clothes.
And it's also safe.
Yeah, it's
like
safety,
other neighboring countries where they have nice natural places, but it's not safe.
Exactly, by 100%.
It's totally safe in Egypt.
Exactly,
It's
everywhere.
it's an advertisement for safety. You can never find it anywhere else in the world.
Exactly, all in Egypt, everywhere, every site, every location in Egypt, every destination, it's very safe for them to say, okay, if I go to Egypt, it's very safe. Before last year, I met a Canadian guest. All them friends told them, why you're going to Egypt? Egypt not safe. It's not safe. So when they came, they are feel some afraid from the country. After a few days, they feel okay. It's more here in Egypt. It's more safe more than Toronto. I say, okay, I don't know that, but if you feel that, it's very good for us. Now we have a promotion and advertising campaign for free from the even guests. If we say this year we have 15 million tourists come in Egypt, so we have 15 million person make his own campaign for Egypt. Egypt is a clean country. Food in Egypt is very, very, very clean, and it's not overrated as well.
And it's organic. There is no hormones injected. There is nothing added.
Even about the taste of food. Even we have a lot of countries around us, especially like Turkey, they already take the Egyptian cushions and start to say it's our cushions. So when people eat, like, for a very, very simple example, baklava, they say very well, okay, Turkish baklava. But when they go for Turkey and then come to Egypt and eat baklava, he said, no, it's totally different. Your food is not overrated. Even we give them quality for food, quality for drinks, quality of the rooms in hotels, and it's very, very important. Quality of cars, quality of the tour guides and tour leaders for more cheaper price, more than anywhere. But I'm not sure for the few months of our prices in Egypt, as now we're talking about economy, our like financial now, our price will be more over, because now we have about 15 million and we just have 22,000 rooms, hotels rooms. The plan now, they want to, the Minister of Tourism, Dr. Ahmed Isa, announcing that he want to make a new project, a new plan to raise the number for 15,000 hotel rooms until 2030. As well, we need to receive 30 million tourists at that time. and all like Vintage, like CNN, they all make sure if everything going very well, the numbers of tourists in Egypt reach for 30 millions in winter and summer. So to make Egypt a new destination for the summer tourism, totally is a new success have to be in for us as a tourism industry.
Mm. There are other places also that might be on top of the map of tourism worldwide because it's environmental free. It's the latest state-of-the-art image for environmental haven for people who are fond of nature and going back to Mother Earth and not consuming electricity, not consuming, I mean, like places in Siwa. There are hotels in Siwa that are totally environmental free. Talk to us about those places also.
Okay, all hotels in Siwa, they still have the natural sources for light. They don't have electricity, so you don't need to use your phone. You have to go there to refresh yourself and feel more.
And even the cuisine and the types of food also is
exactly. It's
organic.
a Siwa Bedouin
There is
food.
no pollution whatsoever.
Exactly. You are going for the heaven, as we can say. You can find it's real oasis. You can see the salt water and also critical water. You can find the clean hotels, the city, palms, Oliver. So everything there is very natural.
Even
organic.
structure of the building.
Exactly. Everything like you visit Siwa today, if you back again for 200 years, 400 years, you find the same city as it now. And as well, Siwa now at one of the destinations be like a global trend. All over world, everyone come to say, okay, we want to come to see Siwa. Let's put in that in our itinerary. So we used now to find cars, tourism car on the way to the Siwa. That's why the Chief Minister or Prime Minister, Dr. Mustafa Bouli, during his last visit to Siwa, and by the way, it's the first visit for the Prime Minister of Egypt since more than 30 years ago. He goes there and he say, okay, we now put Siwa on the plan to make it a tourism destination, to make it more easy for tourists to reach there. Even they announcing that maybe one day we have an airport in Siwa, Siwa also can save the time for transportation to Siwa, according to the pushing of tourists to do it. A lot of numbers of tourists asked for that, and because it's have only way to go there about from Cairo about 8 hours, so too long way, but people still need to go there as well.
Also moving to Port Said, and you see the salt mountains there, which when you go to Port Said, you think it's like just like any other cities, Egyptian city, but doesn't even look like an Egyptian city. It's a totally different culture, totally different activities. I mean, it gives you the impression of a European city in the 20th century with the buildings and everything, and you know, that authentic places where it has the memories and where you can find, and you go touring, like I mentioned, the Salt Mountains and all that. If you like to elaborate over this city also.
Okay, all the Port Said as well, as we are talking, every different destination in Egypt have their own culture. As well, Port Said. So they have their own kinds of food. Even the famous food there is fish. But if I go for Alexandria and eat fish there and then go to Port Said, it's totally different taste, according to their own cushion. You can't have the short trip to move from sailing from Port Said to Port Fuad. Now you are moving from different eras. You're moving from 2023 until year 1868, as the famous port in Port Said, which built by Khedive Ismail and Khedive Ismail, and then King Fuad, who built Port Fuad. So they built in European design, and we can say Arabian design as a Arabian design because also it has the Egyptian design used there. So you see different designs, different culture, with people who already they have their own phonetics. So if I'm Egyptian man, I'm very, very happy to be there. If I'm going there with my guests, they also feel happy because they say, okay, we're going for another, like we traveled for a new city or a new country, totally different from what you see in Cairo or what we see in Alexandria. Even the Port Said and Alexandria sharing the same coast, the same Mediterranean Sea or the same shore, but still looking very different. By the way, in the middle between Port Said and Alexandria, Rosetta, also that they have their own test, their own um, test to feel your tour there. So usually you go to Alexandria and then take a day tour to Rosetta to see the monuments also there, but then said, okay, we are now in different city, not like Alexandria, even just for about 2 hours from Alexandria, but so also looking very different. So Bursaid, Alexandria, if you continue to Marsa Matruh, all the way like North Coast and Al Alamein, every single city they have their own we can say test. It's or vibes or atmosphere make them very distinguished another other city.
Right, and also talking about Alexandria, you mentioned Alexandria. When people go to Alexandria, people who have visited Italy, they would say that it's a little bit different, it's a little bit similar to Italy, to places in Italy, the coastal cities in Italy, like Napoli, for example, and some places, Rome sometimes, the beaches in Italy. But then you go to Alexandria and you see, when you visit there and you live there, you could find out that it has its own special, distinguished, totally different essence and character, with its cuisine, with its people, with its culture, with its probably its nightlife, its entertainment, even the folklore and the songs and everything. It's nothing to do with any other European country.
Okay, let's talk
Is
about.
that true?
Yes, sure, it's true by 100%. First, Athens and Rome, Naples, all these cities they have the same culture as the Mediterranean Sea countries.
Of course.
Okay, so and also Italian and Greece especially, they used to come to Alexandria to work in Egypt during the kingdom era.
Greek and Italian.
Yes, exactly. Even until now, a lot of cafes and restaurants, the owners are still Greece and Italian people. So they already know very well Alexandria. Okay, so what about people who came outside this region, like from America, like from England, from different cities or different countries, sorry, in Europe? They came, okay, we're coming for the new country, totally different from what we see in Cairo, from what we see in Upper Egypt, like Luxor and Aswan, what we see already in Sharm el-Sheikh or Gada. Because it is Alexandria very special since the ancient time of the Roman era. By the way, in Alexandria, and during the Roman time, it was a different nationality. They say that the Alexandrian nationality. I can be Italian or Roman citizen, very easy. But to be an Alexandrian citizen, I need to take my nationality from the emperor himself. All the back history of Alexandria make people in Egypt and also in Europe feel, okay, it's a very high city for elite people. All the history, Alexandria was just for elite, for senators, for Roman emperors. So when even it was the capital of Egypt for more than 1,000 years, since Alexander the Great started to build Alexandria until Amr ibn al-As conquered Egypt. So for all the time, from year 332 BC until 640 AD, Alexandria was the capital of Egypt. All that make people generation after generation feeling that. So until nowadays, we are in 2023. If anyone going, okay, I'm going for refresh myself, I'm going to Alexandria. He feel like that, okay, he already hang out from all his comfort zone to go for another comfort zone. He like, see in front of the beach, listen for the music, going for the cafes. Even Alexandria also had a long history, even for a special thing like cafes. Like cafe, for example, like cafe of the King Farouk cafe. This cafe, it's already opened at 1928. And in the name
and up till this very moment is open.
Yes, people until now going there. And the new thing now, we find some people come and ask it, okay, after lunch I need to drink coffee or tea in King Farouk cafe. So I ask them, okay, from where you know that? He said, okay, from people who already come to visit before. They remark that cafe, King Farouk, or like Delice cafe, Brazilian storage for coffee, Tsavano Polo. So Alexandria very well known also with coffees or cafes there. To go to have your dessert and drink something, it's what they all need. It's about entertainment time.
Mm.
But about the classic tour or historical tour also, Alexandria have a lot of sites you never find anywhere again in Egypt and maybe in over the world, like the catacomb of Qom al-Shukafa. It's a tomb in Egypt, in Alexandria, date back for the 1st century AD, and you never find it again all over the world. About the design, about the decorations inside there.
Mm.
Inside this tomb, we can see how Egyptians lived together and how the tolerance of Egyptians since ancient time. Sorry. At that time, during the 1st century AD, in Egypt, Egypt was a cosmopolitan city or a cosmopolitan country.
Mm.
So you have more nations like Romans, Greek, and also Egyptians lived inside the same country without any civil war, without any conflict happened without them. How can you see that? Inside Qom al-Shukafa. In the same wall, you can see 3 kinds of arts on the same wall: Roman art, Greek art, and also Egyptian art.
Mm.
It's once we start our tour, usually from the catacomb of Qom al-Shukafa, I already put this idea in the head of my guest. We're going to see something different here.
Mm.
You'll never see it again. See 3 kind of arts with 3 different nations on the same wall. It's very clear here in Egypt, very
Mm.
clear, especially in Alexandria. And then we continue our tour to go for the coast of Alexandria until we reach for Qaitbay history, Qaitbay fortress. We see the Qaitbay fortress already built on the same location of the Alexandria lighthouse.
Mm.
It's another changes happen, but without any conflict. So it's not mean Egypt all over our history. That's also make Egypt very, very tolerant country. We have different eras. We have different civilizations in Egypt. We have different religions as well. But it's not mean if I have my own culture or my own civilization, I have to dismantle your civilization, like what we happen in Iraq, or all the history. Like Babylon must dismantle all the Sumerian did.
Mm.
Then another Sumerian come again. So they dismantled all what Babylon did. So in Egypt you never find that. In Egypt, ancient Egyptian, then Greek, then Romans, then Coptic, then Islamic, then new history, and then and in between the Ottomans, and also when the British came to Egypt and occupied Egypt, you never try to dismantle the civilization before. They try to earn the Egyptian hearts as they respect same civilization and same culture.
So we could talk until next month about coastal cities, and it will never end. But then we need also to exhibit to the viewers the other privileges of coming over to Egypt and touring around in Egypt. For example, besides the coastal cities that will take around like almost 5 months from any visitor to take a full tour over the complete coastal cities in Egypt, there is also the archaeological excavations. Yes. And the every morning discoveries that nobody can ever believe it except when they live in Egypt. Egyptians wake up every day to an archaeological discovery.
Yes.
It's somewhere in Midtown Cairo, downtown Cairo, Upper Egypt, Al-Haram city, wherever you go, there are archaeologists. There are several places that Egypt is floating over monuments.
Yes.
Several districts in Egypt where you can find that these places are floating over history. People who have visited Egypt and lived for a while and went back to their countries and said that Egypt is floating over history and monuments, they were not, mistaken. They were not lying. It was the truth. Right or wrong?
Yes, sure, right. For example, last year in 2022, we have 12 new excavations. New excavation every month.
And booming excavations.
Exactly, huge excavation, not just, okay, discovered for just a new statue. No, we'll find like one excavations in Saqqara. Of the excavations there, they find 150 bronze statue for a new place south of Saqqara. Even until now, you can find a new life excavation during our tour. Some of my guests who go to Luxor, who go to Saqqara, during we moving by the car there, you can find a new workers work and make new discover. It's already happened with me in Saqqara before maybe 2 months. We already going to the complex of King Jasser in Saqqara, and we are moving. We find some workers hanging a coffin and going outside from the new tomb. They make a new discover. Okay, you can't imagine how my guests feel happy about that. In Egypt also only in Egypt, you can find a group of people come to visit Egypt, and once they go back for their country, they find Dr. Zaha was announcing that we discovered a new passage in the pyramids of Giza. And they be just before 1 week they was in Giza, and they don't know what happened inside the pyramid. That make people, okay, we need to come again to see maybe your new discover announcing for something new. Also in Valley of Kings, and in Western Bank in Luxor, in the Karnak temple, after all these years, they start to still find some new excavation sites inside Karnak temple until nowadays, since year 1822. And the Karnak temple and the Saqqara never say, okay, I'm done. No, it's still giving you new history. Even in Alexandria, last January is announcing that they find a new tomb date back for the Ptolemaic era or the Greek era in Egypt. So after all these years, Egypt still make people surprised about the new excavations. Nowhere all over the world they find a country for more than 200 years. They make excavations, legal and illegal excavations, and the land still give us more secrets. That make Egypt still kept a lot of secrets all these years, and maybe all what we thought maybe be totally different with the new excavations will appear. So maybe the new excavation in the pyramid, like the new passage, just a passage for 9.5 meters, and the high it's 1.5 meter. Maybe lead us for the new rooms. Maybe it would lead us for the or the correct burial chamber of King Cheops. Maybe we find his new statues, because just even in Egypt we have a small statuette from ivory for 7.5 centimeters. So maybe we find a lot of his statues still hidden inside the pyramid, and we don't know.
Even the pyramids itself, there are, scientists, archaeological scientists have numerously, on many occasions and many fronts, as mentioned and affirmed that there are still like hundreds of pyramids hidden under the earth that were not discovered yet. It's not only the 7 wonders of the world, the 3 pyramids that we have, or the 4 or 5 or 6 pyramids that we have, but still have many, hundreds of pyramids that are still left and not found until this very moment.
Exactly.
How far is that true?
Okay, what exactly stand in front of us now? 124 pyramids all over Egypt. Okay, from here in Giza until in Abydos, the last pyramid in Egypt built for King Ahmose I. And recently, Dr. Zaha Hawass made a new movie or documentary movie for Netflix about the new hidden pyramids. He already discovered the new pyramids, so we must say, okay, it's 125. So maybe
how can a huge pyramid be not discovered?
Yes, disappeared down the sun. The sands be hidden, the pyramids, because not all the pyramids in Egypt strong enough like the pyramid of King Cheops in Giza. That's why made all people thought, especially this pyramid of King Cheops or the 3 pyramids in Giza, built by aliens. Okay, I will follow this theory. Okay, it's built by aliens. What about the other
7,000 years of civilization?
Exactly.
Were those people who built the pyramids were aliens also?
Yeah,
ancient Egyptians were aliens?
Yes, they still thought that. Okay, I told them, okay, very well.
Who said so?
So a lot of people all over the world.
Probably because they are not cultured enough to read history. They haven't read books.
Exactly, but not even about that. They refuse to say that another nation in the North Africa.
It's a case of denial, something else.
Exactly, it's totally not about the history, but
it's about their own
something.
inner feelings.
Yes, in our feelings. Okay, it's another world, and as they say us, we are the 3rd world country. Okay, they be more smart than anyone before. Even everything start in the world start here in Egypt. They can't accept that.
We have a history, and we also have a future. We have a new republic.
Exactly.
We have mega projects.
Yes,
it's not only history, and we have future also.
Exactly. That's what they want to deny that. Okay, we had a great civilization for 7,000 years. And then during the medieval time, we have a new civilization. Then we built a new Egypt during the Khedivate and the Kingdom of Egypt. And then we have a republic. Then we built a new republic. But they refused all of that. They said, okay, our history, it's fake. Okay, what about our present today? What about our future after maybe 10 years? When all this project and the new administration capital finished, what else? Well, how can they come to say that again in future? It's deny feelings. It's all about that.
Of course, but also, as we're running out of time, finally we need to talk quickly, briefly, about the event of the millennium, or event of the era, which is the inauguration of the biggest and the most huge museum worldwide, which is the Grand Egyptian Museum. It's going to comprise everything: history, culture, environmental exhibition, everything you can imagine.
Okay,
And art and everything.
Everything, exactly. Let's start. The Grand Egyptian Museum, it's not just a museum, but it's a huge culture project. It will be the biggest culture project all over the 21st century we have. So it's not just a museum, it will be a museum and child museum and education center, and also have food court in that. For first time in Egypt we have food court and a commercial center. We have as well an art and lecture halls, and a library and cinema as well. So it's a totally huge project. And as the Ministry of Tourism announcing that last week, it will be opening, we suppose, after during these 6 months. But when exactly, they don't announcing that. But we make sure the opening of the ceremony opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum is already prepared for it for last 2 years. So it will be legendary opening. All leaders from all the world, president, kings, come to attend this opening, and it will be continuous for more than 3 days until now. We are sure it's not just a night and that's enough. No, it will be for more than 3 nights and maybe for more than that number. They until now finished almost 100% of the display windows, all finished, and they now since the 1st of July start to put the artifacts inside the display windows. So almost so soon we hope it will be open.
On that note, of course, as we're running out of time already, Mr. Salah Hedayet, you are a tourism expert and a tour guide. Also, would like to thank you so much for coming over to the program and sharing history with us, valuable pieces of information. Thank you so much for coming. Best of luck to you.
Thanks for your invitation already.
Our pleasure, sir. So, by this, we come to the end of this edition of Windows and Current Affairs. Many thanks to all of you. Till we see you again next week. That's a goodbye.